Hey everyone, my name is Stavov, and today I want to talk to you about a character trait. Just one character trait, which is so important. It's commonplace for all CEOs, business owners, high achievers, high-performing people. But it's kind of underestimated in today's society. Not only that, it's underestimated, but it's actually, to an extent, frowned upon by some people. And that character trait, drumroll please, is urgency. Having a sense of urgency. Guys, successful people are in a constant hurry. What are they rushing towards? That's the question. That's a very interesting question. And I actually have 3 answers for you today because I think I know why. Successful people, high achievers, high performers are all having a sense of urgency. So the number one reason I think high-performing people are in a constant state of urgency is because they realized, you know what, I'm not gonna live forever. I'm not gonna be here forever. Neither are gonna be immortal, the people around me, the people I care for, love, work with, and so on and so forth. So we're all gonna die someday. And that, I think, is the biggest motivator actually for humanity to do anything meaningful. The knowledge, the awareness that you're not immortal. You're not eternal. Your time here is limited, so you better get going, because otherwise, you know what? You're not gonna leave anything after you're here, and you're gonna be, lost in time, forgotten, and that's gonna be that. And who wants that? You want an immortality project, that's what you want. Something for people to remember you with. But there's a second part to that, which I think is even more important, and it's that you don't even know how long you have left. So we don't know when we're gonna die, right? It might be a typical human lifespan, like 60, 70, 80, 90 years, hopefully 100 years, but who knows, right? In reality, you can't be sure. It could be tomorrow. It could be at any possible moment, and that's reality. And at some point, maybe something happened. Maybe you had a near-death experience. Who knows? But at some point, those people, something clicked for them, and they realized it could be any moment. So I gotta live as if this could be my last moment. And from there, you get that urgency, that extreme sense of intensity of I gotta get this thing done today because there may not be tomorrow. Reason number 2 why high achievers are the way they are, with such sense of urgency, so intense, so wound up all the time, is because they realize that, you know what, I need pressure. I need an insane force to lift that thing off the ground. And it's the same for a plane, it's the same for a aircraft, and it's the same for a business. You need extreme force to lift it off the ground and escape the gravity of the ordinary, escape the gravity of the mediocre. There's something I call the gravity of the ordinary, because ordinary, normal stuff, mediocre stuff is all around us, in people, in the way we do. That's how you know it's normal, that's how you know it's ordinary. It's just everywhere around you, the buildings, the people, everything, the cars, most of them are ordinary cars. They're not extraordinary, they're not luxury. And if you want extraordinary, you need to escape the gravity of the ordinary, right? Makes sense? And that's why, just like a plane, just like an aircraft, to lift it off the ground and escape the gravity of the earth, you need this insane, focused energy all the time. 1, to lift off the ground, and 2, to keep the momentum. Speed is how you defy gravity, and that's the second reason why high achievers and high performance and CEOs and business owners all have that sense of urgency. Reason number 3 is actually fairly straightforward, and it's that when you're a business owner, when you're a CEO, high-ranking official, solopreneur, doesn't matter, all of a sudden you realize there's so much to do. It's a never-ending stream of work. That's what it is. The reality is, the higher you are in the hierarchy of the business, the more work you do, the more responsibilities you have. And so the realities are very different from a customer support representative to the CEO, it's like night and day. Actually, there's so much to do. Sure, everyone should feel some sense of ownership and they have their responsibilities, but the higher you are in the hierarchy, the more responsibility you have and the more work that you actually do. So at some point you realize, man, if I want to have any life at all outside of this business, outside of this work, I need to work fast because someone's got to do all of that shit ton of work that waits on me, and so I have to do it fast, otherwise I can't do enough of it to keep the business floating. So now we covered why high-performing people, business owners, solopreneurs and so on, these guys tend to have that sense of urgency in them. They're constantly rushing towards something. Now, here's the fun part, and that is when society starts giving you some negative signals as a reaction to you displaying these behaviors, and some of you may be familiar with these feelings. So the first thing that happens is, I believe at the bottom of it probably lies good old envy, and that is when people come to you and say, hey man, relax, chill out a little bit, you haven't been on vacation for so long, man. Take it down a notch, slow down, that's too much stress. It's not all about you, man. It's not all about the work, man. It's not all about the money, man. And people will do that consciously or unconsciously, and just because it's unconscious doesn't mean that it's well-meaning. And even if it is well-meaning, it doesn't mean that it's good for you. So success is a relative thing, and in society we have a bunch of common ways that we tend to measure success by. One is financial, another one is physicality. If you are in top physical state, peak physical state like I am, alpha body type, that's one form of success. Another one is health, another one is relationships, intimate success, so all that stuff. But what happens if you get successful tomorrow and I don't? It automatically means that I'm inferior to you, and people hate feeling inferior in general. But your success, your car, your new car, your big house, your bank account, which are bigger than mine, okay, maybe, when they're bigger than mine, it automatically means that I'm inferior to you. I'm in a losing position in life, and that makes me feel inferior, that makes me feel bad. People hate sucking in life. Maybe except women, but generally people hate to suck in life, and that is why you have that the crabs in a bucket phenomenon. When there's one crab trying to reach the edge and escape, they're going for it, and then there's always this son of a bitch crab which grabs them by the legs and pulls it down. That's what happens with people as well. Okay, so the second strange thing that happens in terms of negative feedback that you get from the world, the second almost when you try to make a go for it, when you start hustling, when you display generally the behaviors that are typical of high-achieving people, what happens is that you get negative feedback because we have this bullshit trend these days of work-life balance and wellness. Now, these ideas by themselves may not be so bad, but the key thing here is how you understand them, right? It's the meaning we put behind the words, and it's very important. When you get in such a conversation and we talk about work-life balance, for example, it's very important to start, okay, so wait a minute. How do you define work-life balance? What is your definition of work-life balance? What is your definition of wellness? Because that's the key point. We think we're talking about the same thing, but in reality, very often what happens is we actually have completely different ideas in our minds. So you hear these business figures and CEOs and athletes, and they're like, yeah. Work-life balance is so important to me these days. I always make sure, to make time for family and my wife, and you're thinking, great, amazing, that's exactly how I think. I'm gonna go to work at 9 a.m. and I'm leaving my desk at 5:30 sharp, and I don't care. I have healthy boundaries. Yeah, you know what? It's important in life to have boundaries. In reality, that guy who just talked to you about work-life balance is working 12-hour days. Like his work day is 12 hours, 14 hours, let's say. He's working on Saturdays. And he's talking to you about work-life balance because that's his definition of work-life balance. And that's not bad. By the way, you can still find a healthy amount of time to spend with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, all of that stuff. But it can't be at the expense of the energy that you put into work. And there's one more thing I want to add to that topic of work-life balance is that it's bad. Generally talking about preoccupying your mind with these ideas is bad because it confuses you. It confuses you into thinking that you deserve something that you haven't paid for, okay? So people look at the nice cars and the big houses and the big salaries and the big checks and all that stuff, and they think like, man, I deserve that. Why do you deserve that? Why do you think you deserve it? Why do you think you deserve that? And then they're like, yeah, but it should be enough, man. 5 days a week, there are experiments done, 4-day work weeks. Cut the crap, man. You're just lazy. You haven't done jack shit. And you think you deserve all that, but that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. They want to nerve the world. They want to lower the standard so they no longer feel inadequate. Because in this world, there are successful people who perform at levels they can't even imagine and they feel inadequate, which is totally natural. It's fine, but they don't understand it. The goal in life is not to avoid anxiety and stress and all that shit. The goal is to learn, to upskill yourself, to learn to tolerate them, to conquer first yourself, your emotions, and then you learn to conquer anxiety and stress. And what used to cause you anxiety no longer does. And that is exactly what you need to do. That is exactly what you need to do in order to sustain the high levels of intensity of CEOs, of top performing people. To have that sense of urgency in a sustained fashion, that's what you need to do. You have to have systems in place, you need to have the right techniques, you need to have the skills to cope, to conquer, destroy anxiety. And that is why you can join me at ratslavov.com, book your first coaching session, and get on the way to achieving top performance and obliterate anxiety at the workplace and learn how to perform at extraordinary levels so that you can reach your goals in this lifetime and not the next one. ratslavov.com, book your first coaching call. You can book a free coaching call just to see what the possibilities are in front of you, and I'll see you in the next video.